Yo, welcome in, man. Today is December the 7th, and the opportunity for us to make some money in the NBA betting today, as we always like to do. So welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn Show. We'll do things the way that we always do, go through a quick recap, go through a couple of the comments, and we'll jump in for today. All right, so let's do that. So yesterday, kind of kicking myself. I actually fell asleep early last night. Didn't play the Timberwolves game. That was the game that I said I was going to add yesterday. If you watched the morning show, I said it on Cal's show, but fell asleep before the game even started last night. Like, it's just super tired. It's been a pretty long week, so didn't play that game. Went 1-1. Of course, the Lakers miraculously, arise from the dead and get a cover. We had 3.5. They end up winning the game by Atlanta ends up winning the game by 2, and then the under in the Bucks and the Heat game was a pretty easy winner. Under 231. If you got the closing number at 227.5, I think it was, that was an under as well. Boston didn't shoot the 3-point ball well, as I kind of predicted in that game. So 1-1 day overall. Definitely left some money on the table though, but it's all good. We'll try to get it back today and a little bit more as well. Let's go through the comments real quick. Tag says, morning family, time we stock up and gave Vincent. He played great yesterday and is finally healthy. He will get more minutes, which means more opportunity. So, in my opinion, Tag, I don't agree with you here. I think Gabe Vincent has been healthy for a minute. I think he's just been looking like trash until I bet against the Lakers. The Lakers, and this is why, man. Like, I always talk about not betting against the Lakers because it's my team, and you want to see them do well. You don't want to bet against your team, but when it's an opportunity to make some money, you typically want to do it. Gabe Vincent has been back for the Lakers and has looked great. I mean, well, he's played plenty of minutes. He's just been looking like trash. Before last night's game where he had 12 points, he had a 9-point game in here where he shot 27% against Miami. That was the revenge game. Against Minnesota, he played 22 minutes. He had 5 points. He shot 25% from the 3-point line. It's not going to get the job done. So he's had plenty of minutes, especially with Austin Reeves going down. Austin Reeves didn't play in that game in Utah. Well, that was the game I think that Austin Reeves got hurt. No, Austin Reeves got hurt in the OKC game. Gabe Vincent hasn't been playing great. Like, he's been playing terrible, man. In my opinion, Gabe Vincent's been playing pretty bad. So, of course, he shows up last night. He plays big. But, yeah, I'm not – I hope Gabe Vincent turns it around and plays a lot better, but he has not looked great, in my opinion. Not playing winning basketball. What's up, Mark? Appreciate you for jumping in. Tag says, John Morant, smash spot here. JM says, good morning, all. Magic can't make a bucket. Magical misses shots. Dang creeps got me. Excuse me. Yeah, Magic on the road, we know that they can struggle to score. I thought their defense would be a little better, and it was not. What up, GLB Bets? Dropping dimes in here. Says happy Saturday. Fear leader here. What's up, Tasha? Justin, my guy. Lifeline says, let's get this money. Thanks for the time and research. Like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate that, Lifeline. Let's see. El High says, made some money yesterday listening to your leans, Chris. Hawks couldn't get it done, or else I would have swept. Had a 1.5 unit play on the Bucks plus 8.5. One unit play on the Timberwolves game under. 1 unit on Giannis over 30. Glad you made some money, man. Glad you made some money. Bet at your own risk says, keep doing your thing. And what's up to the chat? Hope all is well. Appreciate you for tapping in, bro. Let's jump into it for today. Erica says, can I get 2 locks? See, I can tell you don't come around too often, Erica. Ain't no such thing as a lock unless you're talking about, some kind of compound facility or, a door. No such thing as a lock ever in life. Don't let nobody tell you different. Locks are what people put mortgage payments on, and that they don't have to afford to put mortgage payments on. Bill A, good morning to you. What up, Hot TV Grits? Scott says Ja goes off after the BS Tech and getting kicked out. We'll talk about that. Erica says she was just joking. She knows the drill. Good morning, Erica. Appreciate you for tapping in. Let's jump into the slate that we have for today. And before we do, as we always do, we talk about jaXon. So I asked jaXon about the Memphis game, because that's the one that I played. I didn't ask jaXon about it before. I asked jaXon about it after. I handicapped the game when I woke up early this morning. Let's see what jaXon has to say about the Memphis game. I haven't even read this yet. jaXon says, it says the Celtics are on a 3-game winning streak, and they've won 10 of their last 11 games, they are dominant at home with a 7-game home winning streak. Boston ranks 3rd in points per game, scored at 120.1, 8th in points allowed at just 110, making them one of the most balanced teams in the league. Jason Tatum's averaging 28.7 points per game. Jaylen Brown averaging 25.2 points per game and leading the charge offensively, while Derek White and Jrue Holiday provide defensive stability. The Grizzlies' strength. Memphis has been excellent against the spread this season. 15-8 against the spread, 3-0 against the spread as 6.5-point underdogs or more. They've also won 7 of the last 8 games. The Grizzlies are second in points scored, 121.1. They lead the league in assists per game at 30.3, showcasing their offensive efficiency. They have the rest advantage, and the Celtics are playing the second game of a back-to-back after a hard-fought win over the Bucks last night. Injuries. The Celtics are missing Kristaps Porzingis, which he could return. We'll see how that goes, which could impact their interior defense and rebounding. The Grizzlies are without Ja Morant, but Desmond Bane and Jaren Jackson Jr. have stepped up in their absence. I don't think I saw that. Hold on here, Jackson. I do not think that is accurate. Yeah, Ja Morant is not out, so that's not accurate. Jackson can be inaccurate. That's why you just use it as a part of your handicapping process. All right, so recommendation. Given the Grizzlies' strong ATS record, 15-8, and their rest advantage, and the Celtics playing on the second leg of a back-to-back, potentially without Porzingis, I recommend taking the Grizzlies plus 6.5. Memphis has consistently covered spreads this season, especially as underdogs, and their recent form suggests that they can keep this one close as well. Love it. I talked about it yesterday if you guys were watching, and I bet it too. We'll talk about the game, but I did official play for me. I did take Memphis plus the 6.5, and the only reason the line opened at 8. The only reason I didn't take it at 8 is because I fell asleep. The line wasn't even available. I woke up this morning pissed that I didn't get the best of the number, but it is what it is. I'll take them plus 6.5 as well. We'll get to that game in a second. Let's jump into the first few games we got on the board before we even get to that game. And first game we got up is the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Charlotte Hornets. Game will be played in Cleveland today. This line opened with, let's just double check it. This line opened with the Cavs laying 11 points. They're up to 13-point favorites, 13.5-point favorites on some books. This total opened at 221. It's down to 218.5, 217.5 as well. Just kind of depends on where you're shopping. All right, so Cleveland, 7-3 straight up, 8-2 against the spread in their last 10 games, 3 straight wins, 3 straight covers. This is the first leg of a back-to-back. They got the Miami Heat tomorrow in Miami. On the Charlotte side, 1 day's rest for them, coming back from New York, of course. 7 straight losses for the Hornets. They've lost 9 of their last 10 games. Back-to-back non-covers as well after they were covering those first a couple games without LaMelo. Back-to-back non-covers against Philly and against New York. This is also first leg of a back-to-back for them as well. They got a game in Indianapolis tomorrow against the Indiana Pacers, and this is a 4th game in 6 nights for the Charlotte Hornets as well. So I think about the spot. Cleveland 6-4 against the spread in the head-to-head matchup, 5-5 against the number, 6-4 straight up, 5-5 against the number over the last 10. Cleveland already beat the Charlotte team 128-114 in Cleveland as 10-point favorites back on November the 17th. Of course, that game I think did have LaMelo Ball. I think they had LaMelo Ball. I know they had Grant Williams. They were a much healthier teir. I'm pretty sure they had Bridges. I could double check all that, but honestly, I don't really think it matters. I'm looking at Cleveland. They're a superior team. Do they have the look ahead spot to Miami? Yeah, they absolutely do. This is the early matinee start time too. I forgot to mention that this game actually starts at 1 o'clock today. I'm not looking towards Charlotte. There's a couple things that kept me off of Cleveland though. But I'm not looking towards Charlotte, man. They've regressed a lot. The Hornets are they're 3-0 to the under as double-digit home dogs this season. The Cavs have only been a double-digit road favorite once this season. That was against Philly in that one of those first few games of the season. They were laying 11.5 in that spot. They didn't cover, but they did get a win, and that game was played without Maxey and Joel Embiid as well. Double-digit favorites and matinee starts, like double-digit road favorites and matinee starts, typically do win and cover. They're 8-5 against the spread going all the way back to 2009. So I did probably way too much research on this game, but I think if I had to play anything, it'd be a Charlotte team total under 102.5. but I didn't quite get there. And when I was looking at this game from just like matching the teams up on the court, I didn't really talk about the injury report, but I don't think it's a lot going on there. There's one key injury that I do want to talk about, though. So Cleveland has Isaac Okoro listed as game time decision. I think he is truly listed as questionable. We'll see what happens with him. Outside of him, everybody else should be there. On the Cleveland side, Nick Richards is listed as questionable. He rolled his ankle, I think, stepping on Cody Martin's foot in the third quarter in that game against the Knicks the other day. And if he doesn't play, now you're relying on, Mark Williams to be your starting center. Salam is also out in this game. No Trey Mann, no Miles Bridges, no LaMelo Ball. If Nick Richards doesn't play, as much as it sounds like it's a minor injury, and he's not too key of a contributor here. The one thing I noticed with Cleveland the other day, remember I talked about, I bet Cleveland against Denver. The one thing I noticed with Cleveland is, especially in the first quarter, they give up a ton of offensive rebounds. And the Charlotte Hornets, if there's one thing that they can do, it is offensive rebound of basketball. That's something that they can do a pretty good job of. So that kind of keeps me off a little bit. Cleveland kind of rolling into this game, like probably don't care about it as much. It's a super big spread to cover. The other thing was the three-point shooting for the Cleveland Cavaliers. The three-point shooting for the Charlotte Hornets is something that they do a lot of. They shoot a ton of threes without no LaMelo, even with LaMelo. But Charles Lee clearly is getting this team to shoot up a bunch of threes. He comes from the Boston Celtics, coaching tree. So that makes a ton of sense. That made me think about LaMelo Ball up and over his three-point prop. It's 4.5 is the number. He's gone up and over three straight games versus the Knicks, versus the 76ers, versus the Atlanta Hawks. They have no other offensive options available, in my opinion, that's going to be able to get up a ton of shots. Over his last 10 games, Brandon Miller's actually gone up and over 7 times. He's attempted 12, 16, and 19 threes in his last 3 games. So you can clearly tell Charles Lee is just telling them to go out there and check him up. And the reason why it's a good matchup for him is Cleveland, not a great three-point shooting team. 5th worst three-point shooting defense over the last 5 games. Actually allowing the 5th most threes from above the break 3 as well, which is where Brandon Miller likes to pull up from. So that was one of my thought processes, was to take Brandon Miller up and over his threes if there's anything that you like in this spot. Here's a sneaky one though, and then I'll go into the comments because I'm spending way too much time on this game. I'm looking at Josh Green threes. And not a guy that I don't think I ever bet a dollar of currency on Josh Green. But his three-point prop today is a very sneaky look. Like I said, I spent too much time on this game. Josh Green three-point prop is plus 125 on I think one book. It's plus money on a lot of other books too, though. But it's 1.5. I kind of feel like in this game, Josh Green is going to get up a ton of shots here. I just gave you guys the numbers about Cleveland defensively from the three-point line. Josh Green is actually shooting the 2nd most threes on the team behind Brandon Miller since LaMelo Ball got hurt. He's cleared this number in 2 of his 5 games, 2 of his last 5 games. And I think 5 of his last 10 games as well. So it's not too much of an amazing hit rate. It's more so just the potentials are going to be there, in my opinion. He's attempted 7. He did have one game where he only attempted 1, and then he attempted 6 threes in that last game without LaMelo when they were playing at the Garden the other day. So really, really sneaky look would be Josh Green up and over his 1.5 three-point prop. I don't have a dollar on it, but yeah, I think he's going to get there. He's attempting north of 5 threes per game. And if the attention goes to Brandon Miller in this spot, it'll be somebody will have to shoot the threes. And I do think that he can knock down 2. So at plus 125, it may be worth a little stab. I wouldn't put, nothing crazy on it, but I think it's a pretty good look here. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one, if anything at all. Erica says she thinks the Cavs game going over today. I just don't know who else is going to contribute outside of Brandon Miller. Erica, I would love to get there on the over. The Cavs team total was like 115.5. I considered that. Then I'm thinking, like, how is Charlotte going to score? Maybe they can get to 102 points. Maybe. I'm not sure, man. What up, Marquise? Says Rise and Grind, 5-1 night last night. Marquise been cashing. He says, let's scrape up some more change today. Sean says, thank God for the Jazz and the plus 31 point margin last night with the Blazers team total under saved me last night. Glad you cashed it. What up, Peasy? We ain't got to that game yet. Mark says, we're on it, Chris. He likes the Memphis plus 5.5 as well. What up, Charles? What up, Jalen? Mark says Cavs minus 12 for him last night. I think that's the only way I could look today as well, man. It's the only way I think I could look. You just worry about the rebounding. But in the potential look ahead spot to the Miami game tomorrow, I'm not sure how much it means, though. Merrill likes Evan Mobley over his 2.5 assists. Under 219.5 for Mark as well. What up? Brian says Grizzlies plus 6.5 is only play today. I like it, Brian. I like when we align. I'm on it with you. Gary says I like Cleveland to win both halves, minus 120 on DraftKings. Really? You just parlay both halves together? Because I'd be interested in that. Parlay J says ball is out. Yeah, he's been out. Dean says if Nick Richards doesn't play so Salam has already been ruled out. He says hammer, Brandon Miller rebounds over. And he says over and up the Cavs spread for value because those two guys are the best board getters. Miller would be next up for grabbing the boards. Scott said, okay, I like that, D. Scott says we got nothing in this game. Dean also says Hornets won't have many second chance opportunities without Richards. It's not. I agree with that. He is a great offensive rebounder. Bet says I grabbed the Hornets team total under for one of my main picks today. I like the team total under. 102.5 is always a little scary, man, but I'm really having trouble seeing how they get there without Nick Richards to get some of those second chance opportunities. Jared Allen over his points. I don't know if I could play Jared Allen, man. He be out there doing cardio sometimes, but hope you cash it, bro. I do hope you cash it. All right. Josh Green, scary play, up and over his 1.5 3-point prop. Brandon Miller, if you like threes on the opposite side. And I think I would go I don't know if I'll go full game under or just team total under. I'll see what happens with Nick Richards. Probably won't play the game though, if I'm being honest with you guys, but just some looks for you guys. Next game up, we got the Oklahoma City Thunder and the New Orleans Pelicans. Game will be played in New Orleans today. This is 7 o'clock start time. All the other games start pretty regular time. So pretty intriguing game here. So let's start with OKC. You got second straight road game, 1 day's rest to travel down from Toronto, back-to-back wins and covers. They smoked the Utah Jazz at home earlier this week, and then they smoked the Toronto Raptors without Jakob Poeltl as well just a couple nights ago. They do host Dallas on Tuesday in that Cup game, so you got to think about the motivation of these teams. And I think, each team is different, in my opinion. Oklahoma City does not strike me as a team that looks ahead to games. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. Sometimes you can kind of gauge some of these teams, see how, what they have in front of them is going to impact the way that they're playing. OKC just seems like to be a very professional team that, just take care of what's in front of them in the moment, even though they are pretty young. So I wanted to make sure I shared that because, like I said, they do host Dallas in that Cup game on Tuesday. On the Pelican side, 1 day's rest, second straight home game, I think it is. Yeah, second straight home game. Finally got a win to get off the 9-game losing streak. They beat Phoenix by 2 in Herb Jones' debut, I think it was, or maybe his I think it was his debut for the season, if not his return. First leg of a back-to-back with the San Antonio Spurs on deck for tomorrow. So injury report real quick. We have OKC slowly but surely getting healthy. They did get what's the kid name? Caruso. They got Caruso back in that last game. He made a tremendous difference, in my opinion. Still no Chet Holmgren, still no big Jalen Williams, but they should be pretty healthy. Jang is still out as well, but he doesn't mean that much, in my opinion. On the Pelican side, Daniel Theis is listed as game time decision. Daniel Theis, right? I think it's Theis. Yeah, Daniel Theis is listed as game time decision. No Jose Alvarado. Jordan Hawkins is still out, and no Zion Williamson as well. Messi has been like one of a really solid rebounder. I know people were talking about him a few days ago, but neither I'm getting ahead of myself. So you look at the spot. This is playoff revenge from last season. OKC swept the Pelicans last season. They beat them. They've actually beaten them Once already this season as well. Back on November the 13th, they were laying 14.5 points in OKC. That won that game by 18. OKC's actually won 9 of the last 10 in the head-to-head matchup. They've covered 8 of the last 10 in the head-to-head matchup. And the totals are 7-3 to the under, including 3 straight games where the total has actually stayed under. So this was a game that really intrigued me too. So I did some deep diving in this game. So the first thing I did was I went back and I kind of looked at the success that the Pelicans had in that last game. Because we know Brandon Ingram came back. They're getting healthier with DeJounte Murray, CJ McCollum, Herb Jones is now back. Messi, like they got some guys. Like they got some guys. They absolutely do. Not sure it's enough depth. But let me not get ahead of myself. So when I went back and looked at the Pelicans' success that they had last game, because they did beat the Suns, of course, right? And when I was going through the box, it's a super small sample size, of course, but I was going through, kind of looking at the numbers. It came from mid-range shots and it came from corner 3 shots. They hit a lot of mid-range, which makes sense, right? You got Brandon Ingram, like one of the kings of the midi. You got CJ McCollum, who can get to the mid-range. You got DeJounte Murray, who loves pull-up shots. So that makes a ton of sense. And then the other success that I had, like I said, was corner 3s. Brandon Ingram can shoot. CJ McCollum, of course, can shoot. DeJounte can shoot a little bit. Herb Jones is a pretty good shooter. Trey Murphy off the bench is a really good shooter, an elite shooter, in my opinion, in the league. So that's where they kind of found some success. OKC defensively is excellent in limiting mid-range shots. They're top 10 mid-range shots and also top 10. I think they're top 5 in mid-range shots, but they're top 10 in corner 3 defense as well. So if you like OKC, you just need them to not give up a ton of offensive rebounds, which has been, like one of the things that's been one of their weaknesses and one of the strengths for the Pelicans lately. The Pelicans are actually 12th in offensive rebound rate over the last 5 games in the half court. Messi's getting a ton of boards. They've beaten up some teams on the glass recently. They beat up on Atlanta again on the glass. They still didn't win and cover that game, but we know the Pelicans, I think they got five wins so far this season, 5-18 straight up. I think 4 of those wins have actually come at home. So they play a little bit better at home. So I say all that to say this. If I'm playing the game from a side or a total perspective, I honestly think I'll lay the points with OKC. Didn't do it yet. Number hasn't really, well, the number is actually moving now, I guess. I saw, let's see what it opened at. Number open 7.5, and it is actually moving to 8.5. So that makes a ton of sense. I would lay the 7.5 with OKC. I didn't play the game though. I also lean towards the Pelicans team total under. I think that may be the strongest play here. I was going through and kind of looking at some of the trends with OKC. They had a very, very strong offensive performance. They scored nearly 130 points in their last game in Toronto. And I was kind of seeing how they do after, scoring so many points. And they don't play as well offensively. They haven't been able to put together back-to-back to replicate back-to-back offensive performances so far this season. But one thing they have been doing is they typically, offense doesn't play as well in the next game, but the defense still comes to play. We know that the New Orleans Pelicans are, not the New Orleans Pelicans, I'm sorry, the Oklahoma City Thunder are one of the best, defensive teams in the league. And, getting Caruso back, having Isaiah Hartenstein, he's only going to make this defense better. Last 5 games, the number 2 defensive rated team, number 2 in opponent effective field goal percentage, forcing the 3rd most turnovers, and then 4th in net rating, winning by an average of about 12, outscoring their opponents by about 12 points per 100 possessions. So you just need them to not give up a ton of offensive rebounds, because even though Isaiah Hartenstein is back, they still are giving up the 4th most offensive rebounds. And that could be detrimental, especially for a Pelicans team that got swept against them last season. So that's what I was kind of thinking. Pelicans team total under, like I said, after having solid performances, they typically don't score as well on the offensive end, but defense does come to play, resulting in those games going under the total. OKC is 5-2 to the under if the game total is greater than 224, and they've only given up 109 points, which is what the Pelicans would need to go up and over this total in 2 games so far this season. 2 of those 7 games, they came against the Kings. They were on the road. They came against the Nuggets, and that was the letdown spot without Nikola Jokic or Jamal Murray or whoever was out in that game. Player prop wise, I always think about who's going to be in the Dortcher chamber, because it's a real thing in my opinion. Lou Dort is probably the best on-ball defender in my opinion in the league. He gets up, really in your grill, has a lot of help behind him. and just takes away what you want to do. So Brandon Ingram comes to mind. I looked a little bit deeper into that. Brandon Ingram points prop is set at 19.5 after he had a very, very good game last game. Let me just, I forgot how many points he scored, but I know it was north of 25. I want to say he had close to, what did he have? He had 29 points, 29.7 rebounds and 3 assists in that game. That was the first time he had played. So this will be a second game back. And I want to take Brandon Ingram under his 19.5 points. These teams are very familiar with each other. In the last 6 matchups that Brandon Ingram has played against the Oklahoma City Thunder, he scored 20 points or less in every single game, including all of those playoff games. You got a Pelicans team that's getting a little bit healthier, so the scores are back. You got Herb Jones, who can contribute. You got CJ McCollum, who can contribute. You got DeJounte Murray, who can contribute. Trey Murphy, who can contribute. Caruso being back defensively on the Pelicans on the OKC side also makes me like Brandon Ingram to go under his points prop here as well. So those would be my thoughts. Pelicans team total under, and Brandon Ingram under his points prop here would be the way that I'm playing this game. Let's see what you guys are thinking in this one. Michael says Thunder money line all day. Money line. Guess you're gonna parlay it. Pelicans should cover, Burns says. You think so? How many they lose by? Give me a if you're still listening, Burns, give me a projected score for the full game. What you think the score gonna be? Merrill likes under. I like under as well. Dean likes under. Merrill says DeJounte over his 5.5 assists. I don't know how much I like assists. Maybe. I don't know. Sean says he grabbed that -7 with the Thunder. I was early to the party on that one. Won't get to that number late. Merrill likes Isaiah Hartenstein over his 10.5 rebounds. Jacquees asking the same thing about Isaiah Hartenstein over his rebounds. Yeah, I think he's coming off a 14 rebound game. He's hit the over. What is it? Is it every single game, or did he miss one time? I'll give you guys the numbers real quick. I know he's crushed the numbers so far since he's been back, and this is game number what? Game number let's see. So he's played 7 games so far this season. He had 16 rebounds against Toronto in that last game. That game didn't have Jakob Poeltl in it. He had 25 rebound chances in that game. He's actually had 21 or more rebound chances in 5 of his 7 games. So if he's going to get that many rebound chances, you don't need him to convert, but so many. I like that. I like that a lot. Let's see. So in the 7 games that he's played, he's gone up and over 5 of the 7. Only game he missed was against Utah and against Sacramento. Finished with 10-5 in those games. So yeah, this number was 12.5, and it actually came down to 11.5. It's back up to 12.5. I don't know how much I like 12.5, but yeah, don't let me talk you guys off. Trey Murphy over his 1.5 assists for Merrill. Pelicans plus 8.5 for Will Rizza. He says Pelicans about to start running it up. Parlay J says Pels plus 8. Road trip for OKC is brutal, and the Pelicans are desperate for some W's. So you think they're gonna win, or you just think they're gonna cover? PZ likes Pelicans plus 8.5. Mark says Pels are pass. Jalen says I like the under 224.5. Tanking Pels. A lot of conflicting things here. Will Rizza says lean Raptors. We ain't got to that game yet. Pelicans are due to come up. Back to Pelicans here with the points. Steven says okay. 77 figure says not so fast. Thunder smash, a burial, -7.5. So a lot of conflicting trends here. Bet at your own risk says the Thunder is my squad. So of course I had to take us to win our spread tonight. I also could push to take the Pelicans team total under as well. You're considering doing it, Chris. Okay. Yeah, I don't bet because of my squad though. Do not do that, but do your thing. Whatever, helps contribute to your bankroll. 77 figure says Pels are tanking. Who are we fooling, fellas? What up, Tariq? Appreciate you for tapping in. He says, what are your thoughts? What are you thinking about the Pels first half plus 5.5? I need to look a little bit deeper into it. I know if I go to Moneyballer, it'll tell me that they've been really excellent in the first half as a home dog this season. I don't know exactly what the number is right now, but they have been covering in this spot. Is it a tad bit too many points? I don't know. It's not a game that I don't think I'm gonna bet, if I'm being honest with you guys. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this specific spot in the first half, but I guess if I think about it from the perspective of, they got swept last year in the playoffs, so you got the playoff revenge. You also lost earlier this season. You got smoked in that game by 14 points, being shorthanded. That makes me think so as well. Real quick, to put some numbers to the first half, the Pels are 5-1 in the first half as a home dog so far. 7-1 so far in the first half as a home dog this season. The Thunder, as a road favorite in the first half, are 5-5 against the spread. So, that says to take the Pels first half. I think that's probably the first bet, number one in first half now, since Brooklyn hasn't been covering this frequently. Line already moving. Let's see. The Academy record says OKC 1-10 win margin. I always forget about this market. I love to see this. OKC 1-10 win margin. You don't care about the spread. You just need them to win between 1 and 10 points. That sounds like where the line could fall here. It says the Pels can win. I don't think that the Pels can win this game. But that's just my thoughts. I like this look here. Sean says he took the Pels team total under. I think that they're going to struggle to score as well. Pelicans +5 in the first half for SK. All right, next game up. Let's go over to Denver and Washington. Man, we'll be quick here. So injury report real quick. I did see Jamal Murray, right? I'm not tripping. Yeah, Jamal Murray listed as questionable in this game due to some right hamstring inflammation. If you're Denver's coach, what's his name? Can't think of Denver's coach name, but if you're Denver coach or the coaching staff, you probably like, this the game we can rest Jamal Murray. Like, we can win this game without Jamal Murray. So Jamal Murray doesn't play would not surprise me at all. Aaron Gordon is listed as probable. I think that he is going to play in this game. Mike Malone is his name. I couldn't think of his name to save my life. On the Wizards side, continue to be just trash, continue to be like just more than trash, but also like just injury depleted as well. No Malcolm Brogdon in this game. Keyshawn George is not going to play. Corey Kispert is still out. Kuzma is still out. So Denver does have 1 day's rest. They're coming off that 12-point loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers a couple nights ago. Only 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 games are the Denver Nuggets. First leg of a back-to-back. They got a game in Atlanta tomorrow versus the Hawks. The Wizards, god-awful. 0-10 in their last 10. They still only won 2 games, 2 of their 20 games so far this season. Both wins coming against Atlanta about, feels like a month ago. They also don't cover spreads. 2-7-1 against the spread. First leg of a back-to-back. They got the Grizzlies coming to town tomorrow. Washington has been outscored by an average of 26.5 points per 100 possessions in their last 5 games. That's the handicap right there. Denver's won 6 straight. They've covered 5 of the last 6 in the head-to-head matchup as well. Denver should be able to get whatever it is that they want in this game. Last 5 games, Denver just loves to attack the rim. They're not the greatest three-point shooting team. They're number 1 in rim frequency, but bottom 10 in rim accuracy, so they haven't been able to put the ball in the basket at the rim. That should improve because Washington bottom 3 defense in opponent rim accuracy. Denver's also they've been able to shoot the 3-point ball a little bit better, even though they're not like great there. They're ranking 4th in 3-point accuracy, while Washington is bottom 3 in opponent 3-point defense. Denver is also number 1 in transition frequency, so they'll probably play fast, score a ton of points, both off rebounds and turnovers, because Washington does turn the ball over at a top 10 rate over the last 5 games and over the full season. From a trend perspective, the last 3 times that the Nuggets were laying double digits as a road favorite, they scored 120 points last season against the Spurs. They scored 126 against Memphis, and then a few games ago, they scored 122 in Utah when we was on them in that spot after that terrible loss against the Knicks. So, they should be able to score. The trend said it, Denver should be able to score in this spot as well. The Wizards defense said that they should be able to score. The Wizards are 1-4 against the spread as a double-digit home dog this season. They're averaging just 101.8 points per game, and going under that team total today of 108.5 by In four of those 5 games, they've actually stayed under 108.5. The only game that they went over came against Golden State earlier this season. So yeah, with them being super depleted, I would look towards the under. I would look towards the Wizards team total under, but did not bet the game. But I did want to give you guys some analysis because I always talk about the Wizards being trash. I wanted to put some numbers behind it. Jokic triple-double plus 125. Run it, Dougie Bone says. Jacque says the same thing. Jokic triple-double. Appreciate you, Mark. It is Mike. Good old Mike Malone. I love Mike Malone. Michael says OKC plus chicken nuggets equal money line victory. Okay. Wizards money line. Smash spot 5-unit will. Hey, this is the type of stuff that get you thrown out the club, man. Stop, don't do that. Got minus 11.5. Sean says with Denver and Wizards team total under. How you feel about that? Under 54.5 for the first half team total. Yeah, I mean, I'm never betting against it. I'm never betting against it. You know, like if I'm being honest with you guys, like I always talk about the Wizards being an auto fade. I don't auto fade players though, like teams. Like it's really rare that I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna bet against this team because they suck, right? It's always about matchups and stuff. And the one thing, if you guys remember the handicap that I had for the Cleveland game the other day, I said that Denver, you know, defensively, they had not been really looking great. And to put some numbers to that, like they just been giving up a ton of points. Like I don't know how motivated they're gonna be in this game either. But I will say this: the Nuggets don't cover in the first half. They only 1-4 against the spread as a road favorite so far this season. The Wizards are 1-9 against a spread in the first half as a home dog, though. So I mean, that's not giving me a lot of motivation to take them. You look at those team totals. To Sean's point, the Wizards are now 10-0 to the under in the first half as a home dog to their team total. I don't even know what the number is. Probably like 54.5, 55.5. They've gotten to that number 0 times in the last 10 games over the course of the full season. But guess what the Nuggets opponents ATS record is on their team total. The Nuggets have given up. They've allowed 4 of their 5 opponents to go up and over their first half team total if they're a road favorite. That's not what I want to see. First leg of back-to-back games, all 3 of their opponents have actually gone up and over their team total. Nuggets defense has not been good, man. First half, their opponents are actually 15-5 to their team total over. So I know that it's the Wizards, and it should come like this is a good game to get back on the right foot. But when numbers are that strong, I typically don't bet it. So I stayed off of it, Sean. But the numbers say that the Wizards are really bad in the first half. It says that the Denver Nuggets defense in the first half is really bad. If I had to play it, it would still be Wizards team total under, but I didn't play it. Gary asking the same thing. He says, what about that 54.5? Yeah, I don't think that they'll get there. Like outside of the Wizards being trash, like I mentioned, there's just a lot of injuries. You got Corey Kispert out. You got, outside of Jordan Poole, like who else is going to score the basketball? Bilal Kubawale, like they don't got a lot of firepower. Sarr, he's in a terrible matchup in my opinion with Aaron Gordon. If he, locks in Peyton Watson, they should be able to run it up in this game. Only reason if I'm gonna keep it a buck with you guys, only reason I didn't bet Denver is because I missed the line when it came out. This line did not open at 14.5. This line opened with Denver not being great defensively over the last few games. Like that was one of the things that kept me off. This line actually opened. I want to say I didn't see it when it opened, but this line opened 11.5, and now it's already up to 14.5. That's the only thing that's keeping me off. Washington loses by 26.5 points per 100 possessions over the last 5 games, though. So don't let it talk you too far off. I just hate getting the worst of the numbers. Already moved 3 points. So those are my thoughts. Let's see what you guys saying here. Andre says never bet the Wizards. Westbrook triple-double love. What up, LJ? He says Jokic averages 36, 16 rebounds and 10 assists on the road versus the East. This game could get ugly for the Wizards. Yeah, absolutely. Tariq says being in Northern Virginia, it could be a good game to go see. Denver, that is. Yeah, don't go see the Wizards, man. If they give me free tickets and I didn't have anything to do on Saturday, I would go. But I'm not driving to DC to see the Wizards play. Not today. Joker about to take these fake Harry Potters to the cleaners. Wizards team total under for G421. Okay. Pool over his 20.5 points. Merrill says he likes Michael Porter Jr. over his 18.5. And he likes Washington plus 14.5. On that Wizards Island. It's cold, lonely, dark, secluded. It's a terrible place to be, but I hope you get some cash if you take it, Merrill. I'm not joining you over there, though. Marquis says, don't bet the Wizards. Ski had them plus 14 last time, too. Yeah, but, they're going to cover eventually. They will cover, like, one of these lines eventually. I just don't think it's going to be against the Nuggets, especially Nuggets coming off a loss. But the Nuggets can play with their food at times. Defensively, like I said, they're not great recently, so we'll see. Next game up, not a game I did too much pre-work for, so we'll go through this one together. Not the most intriguing game on the board either, but let's talk about it. So we got the Denver Nuggets. We got the Dallas Mavericks and the Toronto Raptors. Game will be played in Toronto. This line opened with the Dallas Mavericks laying, it was a shorter number, I want to say. They were laying 8.5 points. It's up to 9 now. Total open 235.5. It's down to 234.5. So a little bit of money coming in on the Mavs, a little bit of money coming in on the under. Dallas is absolutely on fire as of late. 9-1 straight up and against the spread in their last 10 games, coming off one day's rest. They just beat the Washington Wizards, of course. Before that, they were at home. They beat the Memphis Grizzlies in that big comeback. Their next game, again, is a cup game on Tuesday in Oklahoma City for the cup game. So potential look-ahead spot here for the Dallas Mavericks if you believe in look-ahead spots. They are 7-2 to the 7-2-1 to the over in their last 10 games. Offense has been absolutely humming as of late. Luka in, no Luka in, Kyrie in, no Kyrie in, doesn't matter. This is not the greatest spot again for the Dallas Mavericks. Outside of the potential cup game, they play 8 of their last 10 games on the road, which is typically a phase spot. It's also a 4th game in 6 nights for the Dallas Mavericks. It's also a 5th game in 8 nights for the Dallas Mavericks. It really has not mattered as of late. Dallas Mavericks has been killing everybody. Toronto coming off one day's rest, 4th straight home game, so a couple things working well for them here. And they're coming off an absolute beatdown. They lost by 37 points to the Oklahoma City Thunder on Thursday. So injury report, we have Jaden Hardy game time decision. Najee Marshall continues to be out with an illness. I hope he gets better soon, man. Whatever illness he got, I want no parts of it. He's missed like, what is it? 4th straight game? He's missed with an illness, and it's supposed to be non-COVID. I hope he's straight, man. I like Najee as a player. Toronto side, Jakob Poeltl is listed as game time decision. He did miss that last game with an illness. I need Jakob Poeltl in if I'm playing Toronto in this spot. Davion Mitchell also listed as game time decision. He's questionable with a hip injury. He was added to the injury report due to some right hip soreness. Could potentially miss his first game of the season. We'll see how that goes. And then Kelly Olynyk also got upgraded to game time decision. Well, questionable. He hasn't suited up yet. Been recovering from a back sprain all season, so we'll see if he's able to give it a go here. That's all I got for you guys. I didn't, like I said, I didn't break the game down. So let me do so right now real quick. This is one of the games that I didn't quite get to. First thing I want to see is if Toronto offensively is going to be able to score against Dallas defense. I mentioned Dallas being 7-2-1 to the over. So then I also want to see if Toronto is going to be able to slow down Dallas offense at all. So if you play Toronto, we know that you typically want to do so at the crib. They've been a lot better, even though they got mollywopped against the Oklahoma City Thunder the other day. Real quick, if we look at the Raptors so far this season as a home, if we just look at them at home in general, they're 6-5 straight up, 8-3 against the spread so far this season, losing by an average of 3 points. If you add that they're a dog, same thing, because they've been the dog every single home game so far. They had actually covered 4 straight games before getting mollywopped by the Oklahoma City Thunder. I do think a large part of that had to do with Jakob Poeltl missing. And like I said, if I want Toronto, I definitely need Jakob Poeltl in this game if I want Toronto. All right, so that's that. Let's match the teams up. So we got Toronto, last 5 games. They are middle of the pack offensively, 14th in points scored per 100 possessions. They are top 10 in effective field goal percentage, shooting 58% from the field, 57.5. They do turn the ball over at a really high rate. 4th most turnovers over the last 5 games. Dallas is middle of the pack defensively in forcing turnovers. They're 14th right now over their last 5 games. Defensively, Dallas has been good too. They're 11th defensive rated team. Opponents are shooting the seventh worst effective field goal percentage field goal in general, and Toronto not getting to the free throw line, actually shooting the 6th fewest free throws over the last 10 games. Dallas is also 12th in fewest free throw attempts per game. So I'm looking at Toronto. What they have struggled with as of late over the last 5 games is 3-point shooting. They are shooting an abysmal 34% from the 3-point line, which is bottom 10. Offensively, they get into the rim a lot. They're 3rd in rim frequency, but not making a lot of the shots at the rim, only 23rd in accuracy. Also getting to the paint a lot, 8th in frequency, middle of the pack in field goal percentage in in the paint in general, shooting 43% there. Dallas defensively is really good against the 3-point shot, which shouldn't mean a lot because Toronto's not shooting the 3-point shot well. They also protect the rim pretty well. They protect the paint pretty well. Top half of the league in both of those defensively over the last 5 games. All right, then we get in the half court. Toronto 18th in points scored per 100 possessions in the half court. Dallas 8th defensively in half court defense. Toronto not really running super fast, 18th in frequency, offensive transition frequency over the last 5 games. Dallas is excellent in slowing teams down. They're giving up the 3rd fewest points per 100 possessions in transition points per 100 possessions over the last 5 games. Toronto not scoring off steals. They're not scoring off live rebounds. Dallas has been good in all those defensive metrics as well. So this leads me towards the Toronto team total under. Just looking at that side of the ball. If I flip it and look at Dallas offensively, let's see if Toronto should be able to slow them down at all, which that gives me concerns as well. Dallas is the number 1 rated offensive team last 5 games, scoring 125.2 points per 100 possessions, 2nd in effective field goal percentage, shooting 61.5%. They are turning the ball over a lot, but that doesn't really mean too much because Toronto's not forcing turnovers. Dallas turning the ball over. They're bottom 10 in protecting the ball over the last 10 games. Toronto bottom 10 in forcing turnovers the last 10 games. Dallas has been great offensive rebounding the basketball. They're top 5. Toronto, number 3 in limiting the offensive rebounds. So that's something if you like Toronto. Dallas getting a lot of offensive rebounds, probably scoring a lot of second chance points. They're actually number 2 in second chance point and putback opportunities. Toronto is doing a pretty good job of limiting teams there. They're actually number 3 in opponent putback opportunities. That's something if you like Toronto here. All right, where's Dallas shooting the ball? Dallas is 3rd in rim accuracy. Toronto giving it up at the rim, middle of the pack, 17. Dallas is also getting to the paint, 2nd in frequency, 5th in accuracy. Toronto, middle of the pack, 15th in paint frequency, 19th in paint accuracy. Dallas is shooting the 3-point ball from the above the break 3. Not frequently, but they are making it 39% over the last 5 games, puts them top 5. Toronto doing a pretty good job of defending the 3-point line. They're 3rd in above the break 3 frequency, holding teams to less than 34%. 7th in all 3 frequency. So they're doing a really good job of taking teams off the 3-point line. Dallas offensively in the half court, 2nd in points scored per 100 possessions, 111.5. Toronto top 10 defensively though. Dallas also getting out running in transition. They're 6th in frequency, 5th in points scored per 100 points per 100 possessions in transition. Toronto not doing a good job of getting back on defense. They're 22nd, and so bottom 10 in allowing teams to run in transition, and giving up the middle of the pack in points allowed per 100 possessions in transition. So you're gonna need them to be able to slow them down a little bit. All of this, everything that I just said, like it's going off my head, knowing that Dallas got that big cup game. If Jakob gets ruled in, I do want the +9. I do think Toronto is gonna bounce back in this spot after getting smoked by Oklahoma City. So I'm gonna add Toronto +9 in my not gonna put it in my pocket, but I'm gonna add that because I do think that the offensive rebound rate, if Jakob gets ruled in, is gonna help tremendously. And after getting smoked by 37, I think that they could be feisty in this game. So I'll take Toronto plus the 9 if I do play the game or nothing. I know I talked a whole lot. So let's go back real quick and see what you guys are saying about this one. Actually, not too many comments coming in. And it does seem like an under spot as well. Let's see. GLB Best says, I got a system that says take the Mavs. Talk me into it. It's some ways to get there with the Mavs, GLB Best. I don't think I want to because of the spot, but let me know what the system is. You might have put it in the Discord already. I haven't even checked the Discord since I woke up this morning. Sean says grabbed 7 with Dallas as soon as it dropped. Okay, so he likes Dallas to score. Merrill likes PJ Washington over his 1.5 threes. I'm gonna play it again because it's been cashing. Scotty Barnes over his 1.5 threes made, 16.5 rebounds and assists. Scotty Barnes has been going crazy. I failed to talk about player props, but RJ Barrett continues to hit his points prop as well. I know he went under against OKC, so he should be in a pretty good bounce back spot as well. Merrill says Raptors plus the 8 on a small first half on the money line. Okay. Mark says Raptors spot or pass. So Michael says Dallas all day. Justin says, damn, that's long to be sick. Hopefully he ain't got that Batman forever. Yeah, I'm hoping Najee gets better too, man. What up, Lightbearer? Let's see. What else are you guys saying here? If Jakob is in, give him plus 9 for G421. That's how I kind of feel. Andre says Raptors was a disaster against OKC. Barrett was the last game I bet on him for points. He'll bounce back though, Andre. He won't play that bad. You can't just fade a guy just because they had one horrible performance against one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. They probably weren't the greatest spot to take him in. We cashed on him the game before. Me and Mino talked about it on the Propcast, liking him the game before, against Indiana, and he cashed pretty easily. So yeah, you don't want to take players just because of how they've been doing. You got to look at the opposite side as well. PG says Raptors 4th straight home game of a 7-game homestand. That's a fact. Frankie says Mavs have only gone over their team total of 122.5 4 times in 2024, with one day of rest 3 times. In away games with 1 day's rest, only one of their 7 games, which actually came against the Wizards. Okay. Raptors on the spread for Parlay J. Luka assist prop is low at 7.5 because we know that the Raptors give up the fewest assists to point guards. I'm going under, Marquis says. Cannot talk you off. If Jakob Poeltl gets ruled in, I can talk you off Luka assist plus rebounds to go under because I just need another rebounder down there. Without Jakob Poeltl, I can't trust this team to grab a board to save their life. Let's see. Yeah, I try my best, Parlay J. He says, thanks for the morning breakdowns. You out here saving people from bad bets. Some people gonna take bad bets either way. I'm just trying my best to help. That's all. Appreciate you, Mark. Tariq says, I like the Raptors first half, specifically plus the 5.5. Justin, my homeboy told me, my old head told me, my OG told me, he said, you do it for the cause and not for the applause, man. I don't care about the likes. That's why I don't tell people to hit the like button no more. I don't care if you hit the dislike button. Let's see. Marquis says Luka triple-double. What do you think, Chris? Nah, not in this one. Not in this one. I don't like it as much. Scotty Barnes over his 1.5 threes. We know why, SK says. Raptors first half for Will Rizza. Okay, a lot of people liking that Raptors first half look. Let's see. Raptors first half. Are they better in the first half than they are for the full game? I got to put some numbers to that, man. Let's see. So Raptors first half are they are 14-9 against the spread in the first half, 15-8 against the spread for the full game. So if they cover one, they typically cover both. As a home dog, they're 7-4 against the spread in the first half. The Mavs are only 2-1 against the spread in the first half as a road favorite. Okay, I understand. I get it. Okay. All right, let's keep it moving. Next game up. I think that was good enough. Next game up, we got. So yeah, this game, if Jakob Poeltl gets ruled in, I'll play Raptors. It won't be a big play, but I'll play Raptors plus 9. Probably won't get there on the first half. I think I'll play them for the full game. And I do like under. I think it's more of an under game than an over game, in my opinion. We'll see how it goes. Next game up, we got the Detroit Pistons in New York at the Garden. They're getting 10 points in this game against the New York Knickerbockers. This spread open with the Knicks laying. Knicks were laying 10.5, so it's come down. It's actually down to 9.5 now. I'm looking at the board right now. 9.5 total moved up. This was opened at 222.5. It's up to 226.5 here. I think I definitely agree with the movement there. So we got this is another game I didn't do too much of a deep dive in, but I got a lot of notes in my memory for this game, but we'll look at it. Detroit, 3-7 against the spread and straight up in their last 10 games. They've kind of fallen off a cliff a little bit, and I think I know why. 2 days rest in this spot. They don't play again until Thursday, so they do have a nice little extended break. They play in Boston again on Thursday. This is also a fourth game in 6 nights for them. So fourth game in 6 nights, typically they spots where you typically run out of gas. So we'll see how that goes for the Detroit Pistons today. The New York Knickerbockers, 1 day's rest. They play again on Monday in Toronto. Then they got the cup game on Wednesday against Atlanta. So they still got a couple games to kind of, get through before we see, we see what happens with them. They are 8-2 before we see what happens with them in cup play. They one of the teams that gonna have two days rest. The Knicks are hot right now, 8-2 straight up. They are 6-3-1 against the spread. 4 straight wins, 3 straight covers. The Knicks are almost to the point now, in my opinion, where if you want to fade them, you want to do it on the road. You don't want to really mess with them too much at home. They've covered 4 straight spreads. At home. They've won 6 straight games at home. They're winning by average of 15 points per game at home. They just smoked the Hornets. They smoked the Magic, smoked the Pelicans, smoked the Wizards. I guess those are 4 of the worst teams in the NBA right now. And now they get a Pistons team. Real quick, check out the injury report. I don't think I saw anything too crazy outside. I know Brunson is questionable. Yeah, so Asir Thompson is game time decision. He's truly listed as questionable with a growing injury. He did not play in Wednesday's game against the Celtics. That was due to an illness, though. And then, like I said, on the Knicks side, Jalen Brunson, of course, he means a lot, is listed as questionable in this game with a back injury. He was dealing with a lower back contusion. And if he doesn't play, it'll be the first game of the season that he does miss. Maybe people are thinking that Thibodeau is going to rest him, which is why the number's coming down a little bit. We know, it's a couple teams in the NBA that are like fathers. And then it's a couple of teams in the NBA that are like children. And, when we think about the Rockets, they're child to the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors are their daddy. Same thing is here. The Detroit Pistons are the children to the New York Knickerbockers. The Knicks are their daddy. They've won, I don't even know how many games it was. I know it's been 10 straight, maybe 15 straight in the head-to-head matchup. They've covered the last 2, including the one that they played earlier this season in Detroit. A lot of people like Detroit in that spot. I almost got to Detroit in that spot as well. They were getting 6.5 points as a home dog. Got absolutely mollywopped. Lost that game by 30 points when the last time that these two teams played in Detroit. So that's what I had, right off top. As far as, of course, the injury implications for Jalen Brunson mean a lot in this game. But if I'm thinking about the Detroit Pistons, and I'm thinking about why they haven't been covering. Remember at the top of the breakdown, I said that they're 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 games, 3-7 straight up. The reason why they haven't been covering, the defense is taking a nosedive. On the full season, they're 19th in points allowed per 100 possessions. Over the last 5 games, 28th in points allowed per 100 possessions. Teams are actually shooting the best percentage from 3 and 2 together. Effective field goal percentage, teams are shooting 61.5%. Which is the worst in the NBA, and the Knicks run it up. Second in effective field goal percentage over the fifth in effective field goal percentage over the last 5 games. Second best offense over the last 5 games. They shoot the most free throws over the last 5 games. Big, strong, physical team. I don't really want to fade them too much at the crib. Defensively, they've been good. The Knicks, 5th in points allowed per 100 possessions, 6th in effective field goal percentage. Not giving up a ton of free throws. The Knicks, the Pistons don't shoot a ton of free throws. A bottom 10 and getting to the free throw line. Knicks top 3 in defending, and putting teams on the free throw line. Let's see. Detroit, if you like Detroit, you would need them not to turn the ball over in this spot. They are turning the ball over at the second highest rate over the last 5 games. You would also need them to grab a ton of offensive rebounds. They've been middle of the pack, but that's the only deficiency that the Knicks have. They are a bottom 10 team in allowing offensive rebounds over the last 5 games. And when I say bottom 10, it's closer to 10 than it is to they're closer. They're 21st. I should just say that they're 21st in allowing offensive rebounds. So then you continue to match the teams up on paper. The Knicks, what do? Number 1 3-point shooting team over the last 5 games, shooting 41%. You know what Detroit really struggles with? 3-point shooting. A couple games ago, we cashed if you was on Cal's show, I gave out Celtics team total over. That hit I think at the beginning of the 4th quarter. If you were, and then the game before that, they were playing against the Bucks, and I said that, the reason why they lost to the Bucks, they couldn't defend the 3-point line, and they couldn't. They're actually one of the worst 3-point defenses in the league. Teams are shooting 38%, which puts them bottom 5 3-point defense over the last 5 games. Knicks offense has been excellent in the half court, top 5. Detroit's defense, bottom 5. Knicks not running fast pace, but they still scoring points in transition in top 10. Detroit, bottom 5 in points allowed in transition frequency. It's not a lot to like for the Pistons. If Jalen Brunson is, ruled in, especially with this game being at the crib. I know that the Pistons got revenge. Just revenge alone ain't gonna be enough. You need revenge and something else. So real quick, if I look at Detroit's offense versus the Knicks defense, Detroit, like I said, turn the ball over at a high rate. Offensively, they're bottom 10 in scoring, not getting to the free throw line. And they're getting outscored by about 12 points per 100 possessions over their last 10 games, which is very similar to where the spread is. Knicks defense has not been good against the 3-point shot. They're actually bottom 10 in corner 3 and opponent corner 3 accuracy, opponent above the break 3 accuracy over the last 5 games, and overall 3-point accuracy. However, the Detroit Pistons not a great 3-point shooting team. They're middle of the pack in all 3 categories. We know that that's the one thing that they really struggle with, is being able to shoot the 3-point ball consistently. So we'll see how that goes. As far as half-court offense, Detroit 19th in points scored per play in half-court. Knicks top 6th in defense over the last 5 games there. Detroit doesn't play super fast. They're 19th in frequency. New York actually doing a really good job of getting back in transition defense. They're 3rd, allowing the 3rd fewest transition opportunities, top 12 defensively in that category as well. So yeah, Brunson gets ruled in. I think it's Knicks team total over once again. The way they're shooting the 3-point shot right now, the way that Detroit is defending the 3-point shot right now, the fact that Detroit's on the 4th game in 6 nights and the Knicks have not had to travel at all, this being their 3rd straight home game. I know that they beat up on the worst of the worst, but I think that they can keep it going here against the team that they own. So I'm not laying the spread. You definitely need to know what's happening with Brunson, but Brunson is in. I can see the Knicks continuing to run it up. 125 against the Hornets, 121 against the Magic, 118 against the Pelicans, 134 against the Wizards, 124 against the Nets, 123 against the Bulls, 123 at the beginning of the season against the Pacers. Like, this is a really good offense that Brunson is in. So let's see what you guys are saying about this one. We'll move over to the last game and I'll do a quick recap and get up out of here. Cade, either threes or points. Brunson won't play. Just took Josh Hart rebounds and assists. Parlay J says. GLB Best says, my revenge under system is undefeated this season. However, I might take a L with this under. You probably played it early, I'm guessing, GLB Best, and then the total went up. Hardaway Jr. overs 1.5 threes at the Garden, SK says. Frank says, Chris, you're going to start a New York-Detroit rivalry here. Shout out to Cal. Tibbs and Rest don't even sound right together. That's a fact, Dougie Bone. With the Cup game coming up, though, maybe one of the assistant coaches, like Jalen Brunson's dad, can tell him, maybe we rush Jalen Brunson. We get him back in form when they go play against the Raptors on Monday before their Cup game on Wednesday. We'll see how it goes. Will says, what up, though, Chris? As a Detroit native, I would not even lay 15 with the Pistons versus the Knicks. Take Cat 2 threes and parlay it with something you absolutely trust. Appreciate you, Will. LJ says the actual number is 14 straight versus Detroit since 2020 2021. Appreciate you for shouting that out, LJ. I said close to 15. I was right. Brady says they need some revenge and maybe some infinity stones. It's what sounds like maybe. Yeah, he not. The Nets is not suiting up. He's not suiting up here. SK says Tim Hardaway Jr. is up and over his 1.5 threes in 9 of the 10 games versus the Knicks, by the way. Justin says he's been blindly telling that under system. Daryl says 10 points though, Chris. Man, I don't know, bro. Think the Pistons the play here. Hey, I'm not telling you not to play him, Daryl. At the end of the day, I always tell you guys play what you love. Go against me. I'm not up for the season. Like, play what you absolutely love. But I'll tell you this. The NBA is so Jekyll and Hyde that I'm not playing anything until I know exactly who's playing. And Brunson is top 5 player in the NBA right now. I don't think I'm going out too far on a limb by saying that. I'm definitely not playing any NBA game without knowing the status of a top 5 player. So take with that information, do what you want. But don't let me talk you off though, because if you like the Pistons in this spot, you're gonna get a worse number if Jalen Brunson does get ruled out. This number is gonna come down. So you might want to jump in early. I'm not doing it though. Not doing it. Next game up, we got the Memphis Grizzlies and the Boston Celtics. Game will be played in Memphis. Game will be played in Boston today. This line, like I said this at the top of the show, open -8 in favor of the Celtics. And I don't know how quickly the money started to trickle in, but it did trickle in. Ended up trickling all the way to 6.5, and I was asleep. So little upset that I missed the best of the number, but it is what it is. I woke up this morning to handicap it. I talked about this one yesterday. Talked about liking the Grizzlies in this spot. So let's jump into it. We'll go injury report first. I'm looking at on the Memphis side, Marcus Smart game time decision. He was dealing with an illness, I want to say. I think an ankle injury. I think I wrote down. No, it is an ankle injury. Okay. It's Luke Kennard who's dealing with an illness, I think. Luke Kennard is already ruled out. Marcus Smart is listed as questionable in this game. No Gigi Jackson, no Zach Edey, of course. But yeah, Luke Kennard is dealing with an illness. On the opposite side for Boston, we have no idea who's going to play. Porzingis did miss yesterday. He could potentially return in this game. We'll see how that goes. Jalen Brunson, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Drew Holiday. I feel like all of those guys have been on and off the injury report. Boston doesn't have to submit an injury report until later today. I'm expecting Porzingis to return. Of course, Al Horford probably will not play. We'll see what happens with the rest of those guys. Could Boston play everybody? They absolutely could. And if they do, you'll get a better number, most likely, because this number probably will go back up to 7.5. But this is not a great spot for the Celtics. So on the Memphis side, 8-2 straight up, 7-3 against the spread in their last 10 games. This is the first leg of a back-to-back. They got the scary Washington Wizards tomorrow in DC. And then on the Boston side, second leg of a back-to-back, 5th game in 7 nights. So 3rd and 4, 4th and 6, 5th and 7, typically a spot that you want to fade. And I think that's why the number came down. They don't play again until Thursday, though. So that's something to take into consideration when they got the Detroit Pistons coming into town. Boston has smoked the Grizzlies recently. They've won 6 of the last 9 games in the head-to-head. They've covered 7 of the last 10. So, yeah, the Grizzlies get owned by this team. But then I started to do some research because I already like Memphis in the spot. Like I said yesterday, Memphis is actually number 2 on the season. Number 2 on the season, and number 5 in their last 5 games in opponent 3-point field goal percentage. And remember, I talked about liking the Bucks yesterday, but I talked about liking the under because I thought that the Bucks 3-point defense, which had gotten a lot better, could hold Boston down. And I think Memphis can do the same thing. Like I just said, number 2 on the full season, number 5 last 5 games in opponent 3-point field goal percentage. On a night where Boston is playing, 5th game in 7 nights, second leg of back-to-back, 3rd and 4th, 4th and 6, all that good stuff. I think that their mindset is probably going to be to settle for a ton of threes. On whether they're making them or not, I think that they're going to do that. And they did that last night. They shot 53 threes against the Milwaukee Bucks. They only made 17, shot 32%. They won the game but didn't cover. And I'm thinking something similar could happen like that. You got maybe a better offensive team for Memphis that they're playing against as well. There are some weaknesses for the Grizzlies. Don't get it twisted. A few weaknesses for the Grizzlies is that they do foul a lot. They foul more than any other team in the league right now in their last 5 games. But I look at Boston, they actually bottom 10 and getting to the free throw line over the last 10 games. Memphis is also bottom 5 in opponent transition points. So teams are getting out and running against them. But when I look at Boston, they don't get out and run a lot. They're actually playing at the 3rd slowest pace as far as transition frequency over the last 5 games. And I talked about that yesterday in the handicap against Memphis as well, against Milwaukee as well. And then I look at the trends, the Memphis Grizzlies, and of course they were depleted last season because they were super hobbled, but they did go 7-6 straight up, 10-3 against the spread as a road dog in non-conference games last season. The reason why I look at this is because some teams don't care about non-conference games. Some teams absolutely care about non-conference games. So that's why I look at that trend, but 10-3 is a super strong trend. So I did play Memphis. They have struggled in Boston specifically. Last 4 times that they went up to the Garden, they've gotten smoked, lost all 4 games straight up and against the spread. All losses came by double digits as well. So that's not the greatest spot here, but I am on Memphis today. I took them plus 6.5. Line is still widely available here. You also got Marcus. I do think Marcus Smart is going to play. So you got the revenge narrative if you're into that type of thing as well. But super quick handicap here. I just wanted to share with you guys what I was looking at there, and then we'll move over to the left. I think it's only one more game on the board. Aiden says, "What you got for Hornets and Cavs?" You got to go back to the beginning of the show, my brother. I always go in order. So next time you come in, you'll know like whatever game starts first, because that's a 1 o'clock start time. So if I'm talking about Grizzlies and Celtics, this is way later in the day. So you just got to go back to the beginning. GLB Best says, woke up this morning and saw that the revenge game under system is active on this game too, but 232 to 238. Yeah, that's crazy. GLB Best says, I'm a sicko and still took the under. I can see this game going under though. I do like under in this spot. I think real quick, we know Memphis like to get out and run. Shout out to Cal. Cal pitch, he pointed this out the other day. I was looking through it, didn't even see it when I was looking at my numbers the other day. But we was talking about this the other day with Memphis playing against Sacramento. That total was 244, and he was like, I'd be stupid to take it under. But it's a lot of the reason why it makes sense. So if you look at Boston, we know that, first of all, we know teams typically run out of gas in 5th game in 7 nights. And granted, a couple of the Boston guys haven't played in every single one of those games. But similar to Sacramento, who is the number 1 transition defense in the NBA, the Boston Celtics are actually number 2 in transition defense in the NBA. They don't allow you to get out and run. Teams are only running 11% of the time against them, and they're 7th in points allowed per 100 possessions in transition frequency. Memphis is number 2. They run faster than everybody else except one other team in the NBA, and they get a large portion of their points in transition frequency. So yeah, I like under. I would like under too, GLB Best. The higher it goes, the more I like the under. What's up, St. Clair? Appreciate you tapping in. Justin says, yo, Chris, you can let me know what you like on Charlotte versus Cleveland game. I missed it. Nah, go back. You just gotta check it out, man. I've been talking for 1 hour and 15 minutes, bro. I'm not going back to a game that I talked about already. Jalen says Diabate is now questionable with an illness. Oh Lord. Yeah, that ain't good, man. Yeah, I like it, GLB Best. I might get there with you, bro. I know you super contrarian. I like the contrarian looks that you share. I try to be contrarian better myself. And it makes a ton of sense to me. I'll look a little bit deeper into it. We'll chat about it in the Discord a little bit later. So yeah, I did play Grizzlies. Give me plus the 6.5 here. Last game on the board, another game that I didn't dive too deeply into. So we'll jump into this one real quick and do a quick recap and get up off of here. Yeah, I'm moving a little bit slower than I thought I would. So let's go Phoenix and Miami. I saw this line open, or at least when I woke up this morning, it was 6.5 in favor of the Suns. They were 6.5-point dogs, I'm sorry. And now it's come down to 6.5. It actually touched 5.5 as well. Now it's going back up to 6. Total open 219. It's up to 221.5. So we got a Phoenix team, 1 day's rest. They lost to New Orleans the other day. They are just 3-7 straight up, 4-6 against the spread in their last 10 games. First leg of a back-to-back game as well. They got the Orlando Magic tomorrow. Orlando probably going to mollywop this team because it'll probably be no Kevin Durant. Second leg of a back-to-back, third game in 4 nights for Phoenix. So just potential look-ahead spot. Orlando coming off a loss back at the crib. They probably going to smoke the Suns tomorrow. But let's jump into the Miami side. So 2 days rest for Miami. First leg of a back-to-back. I mentioned the Cavs coming to town tomorrow. This is the second of a 4-game homestand for them. They smoked my Lakers by 41 points the last time we saw them play the other night. And Phoenix has actually been really, really good in the head-to-head. They've won 7 of the last 10 and 3 straight against the Miami Heat in the head-to-head matchup. So that's all I got for you guys. Injury report really quickly. We have Ryan Dunn listed as game time decision. He's truly listed as questionable, was sidelined in that game on Thursday against the Pelicans. They need him because defensively, he's probably the best defender that they got, even though he's a rookie. Royce O'Neal is pretty good defensively. Of course, we know, no Kevin Durant. Nurkic is still out as well. And on the opposite side for the Miami Heat, you got Jimmy Butler listed as game time decision, but he's probable. I'm thinking he's going to play. They're coming off 2 days rest, so I think that he'll play in this spot. And let's jump into the matchup real quick. So Phoenix offensively, the contrarian look is automatically going to be to take the Suns, in my opinion, because nobody is going to want the Suns. I'm sorry, to take the Heat. Nobody's going to want the Suns without Kevin Durant, in my opinion, without Nurkic on the road, coming off a loss to the Pelicans. Like, how you lose to the Pelicans, I know that's what people are going to be thinking. I don't think I could go against anybody there, especially when I just told you guys they're 3-7 straight up, 4-6 against the spread in their last 10. However, I'm not into laying a bunch of points with Miami, especially coming off a big win like they just had with a 41-point win. This could be a major letdown spot for them, especially with the Phoenix Suns losing that game in the last one. So I'm looking at Phoenix offensively last 5 games, the middle of the pack. They're shooting a ton of threes, shooting the 6th most threes at the 12th best percentage, right about 38%. So you can call them kind of middle of the pack there. They don't like even try to get to the rim at all. They're actually shooting the fewest rim shots, and I thought that was Boston. They're shooting the fewest rim shots in the league, which is what the Heat typically do with Bam Adebayo down there anyway. They don't allow teams to shoot a bunch of shots at the rim. The top 10 in opponent rim frequency. The Miami Heat can be exploitable from the 3-point line at times, right? We've seen their 3-point defense be really good this season. We've seen their 3-point defense be really bad this season. On the last 5 games, they're actually giving up really a ton of corner threes, and teams are shooting about 40% from the 3-point line. So that's something if you like the Miami Heat. Also, Heat defensively, middle of the pack in pretty much everything. They do force the top 10 in turnover rate. Phoenix does a pretty good job of taking care of the basketball. Phoenix goes to the free throw line a lot. 3rd highest rate over the last 5 games. Miami is don't send people to the line. They're actually sending people to the line at the 2nd lowest rate. So we'll see how that goes. And then I'm looking at Phoenix offensively. So they're 11th in transition, they're 11th in half-court points scored per 100 possessions. Miami's also 11th in defense there. Phoenix is not pushing the pace, even though when they do, they are scoring. They're actually number 1 in points scored in transition frequency, but they're middle of the pack in transition frequency. Miami is excellent. Number 1 in frequency, 5th in points allowed. So Miami's transition defense is really, really good. That should be able to stifle Phoenix as long as they're not giving up a bunch of threes. That makes me think under. If I flip it and I go Miami defensively and I look at Miami offensively and I look at Phoenix defensively, I'm going to tell you guys what I get. So Miami is doing a pretty good job of protecting the basketball. They're actually right outside the top 10 in offensive rebound rate. Offense is actually 11th over the last 5 games. Pretty sure a lot of that came from scoring 130 plus points against the Lakers the other day. They are shooting the 3-point shot really well. They're top 10 in 3-point shooting, corner 3, above the break 3, overall 3. This is all over their last 5 games. They're not getting to the rim, not attacking the rim, not really getting to the paint too much either, not attacking the paint too much. Half court, middle of the pack. Suns defense, top 10 in the half court as well. Miami's not pushing the pace. They're 26th in transition frequency, 15th in points scored. And the Phoenix Suns defense has been pretty poor in getting back on defense. 19th in frequency and 25th in their opponent points scored per 100 possessions in transition. So I guess that all kind of leads me to under. I know neither one of these teams are playing super fast. Yeah, I see Phoenix 29th in pace, Miami 22nd in pace. I kind of feel like under. I know that the total's going up. I'm expecting Phoenix to play a little bit of defense. You just got to guard the 3-point line. And I'm expecting Miami to play some really good defense without Nurkic and without Kevin Durant as well. So Not sure what I'll do with the spread if I'm being honest with you guys. I need to process everything that I just said. Maybe I watch the video back again. I don't know. I feel like I'm analysis paralysis at this point. So yeah, I don't really have too many thoughts on this game. Lean under, I guess, but I don't know if I'm gonna get there. Rich says Suns on the money line. Devin Booker under is 28.5 for RH. Daryl likes Memphis first quarter on the money line. He says get in and get out. Memphis start strong. Boston will blow them fourth quarter, in my opinion. I think opposite. I think Boston is probably better first quarter team than Memphis because they play offense and defense. Memphis can score, but a lot of their points there comes in transition. Boston is not a team that's going to give you a lot of points in transition. So we'll see how that goes. John says, can I bet on field goal attempts? You think Ja Morant over 15.5 is a good bet? Not sure. I would need to do some analysis around it, John. I'm not sure who's going to score, who's going to shoot the ball, but I know he is going to be fired up, especially after he got thrown out the game for no reason the other day. The referees did come out and admit that as well. So those are my thoughts there. If we get into a quick recap, the only thing that I bet so far is Memphis plus the 6.5. If I was to add anything else based on what we talked about, let's see. What I wrote down in my notes was I definitely wrote down that OKC 1-10 win margin. I think if they do win, it'll be there. But I also like, if we go back to the top, I think the Charlotte game goes under. The first game on the slate for today, I think Charlotte and I think Cleveland and Charlotte goes under. I think it's 218.5 is what the number was. Yeah, I think that game goes under. What else did I write down? Not gonna put this on the screen, but Jalen Green over his 1.5 3-point prop. OKC and New Orleans outside of liking OKC, I do think that the Pelicans are going to struggle to score the basketball. So New Orleans team total under 108.5. I also like the full game to go under. I got a little bit more work to do. Brandon Ingram under his 19.5 points. I like a lot. Probably going to add that one as an official play. Under 19.5 points for Brandon Ingram. He's going under in 6 straight matchups against the Thunder's defense. And like I said, they got some scores back. Washington and Denver, probably not going to touch that game. If I had to play anything, it would be Denver minus maybe 19.5 alt line, but not going to play that game probably. Dallas and Toronto, I do want to get there with Toronto plus the 9. I just need Jakob Poeltl in. If Jakob Poeltl plays, I'll take Toronto plus 9. Need him efficient. Detroit and New York, staying off of that game till I see what happens with Brunson, especially with campaign also being listed as questionable. I think I forgot to mention that. Memphis, we talked about that game already. Phoenix and Miami, I don't got nothing there. So yeah, this will be the short list for today, man. Whatever it is that you're playing, I hope that you guys make some cash doing so. Appreciate everybody for tuning in today. Resources that I use to handicap the games are here. If you're interested, check them out. Referral codes in the description of the video. Referral codes in the description of the video for all 3. And that'll be the show for today. I will catch you guys. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it all over again tomorrow. Hopefully we can make some cash today on whatever it is you're betting. I need Memphis, though. Need Memphis, man. Catch you guys tomorrow. Enjoy your Saturday.